Hi everyone, welcome to today's presentation. Today we're going to be focusing on phonological and phonemic awareness. The difference between the two is phonological awareness is when a student is able to recognize and manipulate spoken parts of sentences and words, and phonemic awareness is being able to break out the individual sounds like you see in the picture that I have of the word bat. Why phonological and phonemic awareness are critical for early readers is because it builds the foundation of words and understanding print. You support spelling and reading fluency. These are just skills that aren't just nice to have. They do carry with us throughout the entirety of our lives, especially in school as reading increases. Our students need to have these foundational skills in order to be successful. So they need to be able to hear words and manipulate sounds in the words. They need to be able to decode words, and developing these skills early is going to set them up for success. It's going to help them be fluent readers. It's going to help them with comprehension. It's going to help them with socialization. And with phonological and phonemic awareness, it allows us as teachers to see which students need help with which specific skills. My assessment focus that I chose was the dynamic indicators of basic literacy skills. It's the DIBELS assessment. It helps us as teachers see how well our students are able to read words and break words down sound by sound. I do this with real words and nonsense words. All you need is a piece of paper with a list of words that you want to assess your students on, and it's a progress monitoring assessment. And as a teacher, you should give it regularly to track your own students' growth over time instead of looking at it as an end of unit assessment that's just a snapshot of what they took away from what you're teaching them. It's ongoing, and again, it helps us as teachers be able to plan our lessons and really just find a focus that each group of students needs to work on, and it helps you to see the gaps in your class. Administering the DIBELS assessment, it is administered just teacher to student, one-on-one. It's, again, just a list of words on paper. Sometimes I even ask the students to read me the word and decode the word. A lot of people read the word and ask the students to segment the letters. It really just depends on how you want to do it and how in-depth you want to go with your data and assessment. It's also very short, easy to fit into the school day. You're not going to have to carve out a huge block of time to do so. It's not going to take away from your teaching time, and it's just something that you can use on a regular basis, and it helps you to adjust groups, see who is grasping a skill, who's not grasping a skill, see who can be pushed farther with the skill, and so much more. Some classroom considerations for this assessment. From my own experience, I always like to make sure my classroom is quiet and as distraction-free as possible. I have students doing color by sight words, or sometimes they'll be on their Chromebooks with their headphones on, doing iReady or reading on Epic. Use visual supports and manipulatives for students who might need them. I teach inclusion, so some students might get extra testing time. They might need visual cues. And sometimes if the classroom is too distracting, I'll pull the students out in the hallway one-on-one. And it's extremely important to track every student's progress individually rather than assessing in a group, just so you can be super specific, so you can tailor instruction to their specific needs. Some students, again, might need extra time. And these strategies make the assessment useful and fair, especially in an inclusion classroom setting. And to combine the results along with literacy observations that you see every day in the classroom will also help for you to plan your instruction. After you assess and get those results, it's very easy because like I said, the assessment gives you the in real time results. And as you're administering, you can kind of, as a teacher, see where the assessment is going to go. It gives you a very clear picture of each student's phonological and phonemic awareness. It helps you to also look at your own teaching and adjust your lesson pacing if needed. It can track student growth over time. I also personally like the Haggerty books a lot to do as a whole group and in a small group setting. Monitoring your progress allows you as the teacher to celebrate all the improvements of your students' growth. Some students may stay in the same group and work on a skill. You might need to rearrange some students around in a group, but it's so you can adjust the instructions so that every single student knows that they have your support, they know that you care about their learning, and that this way you are helping them grow to be confident and successful readers. This assessment is extremely reliable. I have used it all 3 years of my first grade teaching thus far. My team introduced it to me when I came to my school. We bring the results to our PLT meetings and we talk about it across a grade level and our own individual classes. It measures phonemic awareness, like we said earlier. My curriculum, we have a phonics instructional book that is 32 weeks long, so it really helps us to assess these skills, see where we need to slow down, see where we need to go back and adjust the groups. It also helps our students learn to decode better and improve reading ability. And like I said, we find it very easy to use. It's an assessment that only takes about a minute. Some students with extra testing time might take up to 5 minutes, not that big of a deal. You can choose to do all your class within one school day. You can split it up over the course of 2 days. And the results provide data that is going to be very meaningful to you. And as a teacher, it really helps you to make sure you're staying flexible and meeting the needs of all of your students. This assessment is also very age appropriate. I know the DIBELS assessment can go from K to 8th grade, but this specific one that I'm speaking on is really good for K to 3. I also think something that can factor that as a teacher you need to take into account rather than a score. A student might have trouble with their speech, so it might not be like, oh, they don't know how to segment a word. It's just that their speech is delaying them. So then you can look into services for that, or group a group of students together who do struggle with speech and work on pronunciation. Sometimes it might be the language. Some words might be unfamiliar to students, but as long as you make the adjustments that you need so it's culturally appropriate and supports all of the students in your classroom, the adjustments are very easy to be made. And just remember to be aware of these things and make sure you as a teacher know your class the best and knows what's going to work for your students the best. So just go based off of your best judgment for your class. This assessment, since it's real-time data, is very easy. It helps us as teachers remember to stay flexible, and it will help you to identify students who are on track versus the one needing additional support. If you have groups of students who need additional support, students who are on track can be working on the skill and harder skills. That helps you to plan your small group and individualized interventions. And it's a really great way to look at your teaching and see where you need to adjust the pacing. If you need to go back, remember that is not a big deal. You would much rather have your students be able to grasp one skill before it comes into a snowball effect, but it is very easy to use this data to guide your instruction since the skills are so specific that they're being assessed on. Putting it into use is really easy. Just pull a group of students. I like to do 3 to 5 to my back table so every student is getting my attention. If students are having a hard time breaking down the word bat into individual sounds, I'll model, they'll repeat, we'll do it together, and then I'll have them do it one at a time. I have little dabbers that they can use to dab each letter sound. They can clap, they can use counters, they can color, even making up movement breaks for these kids, or telling their neighbor the sounds of the word. Just simple exercises that they can get into a routine of doing. It really has to be just for like 5 minutes a day. It's better to do it in smaller chunks every single day consistently, rather than pulling them to the back table for 25 minutes at the end of the week, reinforcing the skill. They need constant and consistent practice, and it also, again, the groups might change depending on the skill. It might have to be more challenging or it will remain the same, and it's just ensuring that all of your learners will develop strong phonemic awareness skills. This assessment is used as a literacy assessment. It's good to administer it regularly, just so again you get to monitor the student growth. It's easy to identify the gaps that your class might be having with these skills. Combine the assessment with everyday observations to plan your instruction. You can implement it in a morning meeting or during a think, pair, share, or you can have students repeat things back to you or come up with the words on their own. And it's just going to help you as a teacher overall to be able to differentiate your instruction and stay flexible. And it's also just a reminder to all your students that you do truly care about each of their individual growth and that you want reading to be fun and you want this to be a fun process for them rather than overwhelming and frustrating. When you're setting your students up for success, yes, it's great to see what they do know, but this assessment is to really pay attention to specific skills that each student is missing. It's not about labeling them as a score. It's just seeing, okay, this student needs help with short vowels. This student needs help with blends. This student isn't fluently reading. Once you gather that information, put your students into those small groups and just start working on those specific skills. And you can play games. You can do it in movement breaks. Just make it interactive, make it fun for them, make it exciting. The more you are excited as the teacher teaching it to your students, the more they will want to participate and the more they will want to try to learn the skill that you are trying to teach them. Just some things to remember is that every child is capable of growth. Every win, big or small, deserves to be celebrated. The more enthusiastic and positive reinforcing you are to the students, the more their confidence is going to go up, the more they're going to be willing to try. Don't look at the assessment scores as judging you as a teacher. Just look at it for guidance as to things your students still need work on. It does not reflect the way that you are teaching them or your care for them, and your students are not a number. They're not a score. Don't feel like you have to do everything at once. It's okay to slow down. Just remember to be consistent, and consistent practice every single day adds up over the small group sessions where you're doing it for longer periods of time. You are called to teach for a reason, and you are such a gift to every student that you teach, and they are a gift to you. Thank you so much.